Good everyone, today's video today it's a review on the Havoc Mk1. Now I realised that I'd never actually done a review on this aircraft, which is quite rare. I absolutely love this thing, so why the hell have I not done a review on it? I do not know. And yet I did one on the Hudson. I honestly can't tell you. I guess I just forgot about it and just did the Hudson because people might prefer the Hudson a bit more, which, to be honest, in terms of bombing and ground attacking, you would prefer the Hudson, but at the same time, the Havoc is just more fun as a fighter. So the Havoc Mk1 costs around about 400 Golden Eagles, and it's some of the best 400 Golden Eagles you're ever going to spend. I can promise you that. This plane features high speed, great durability, a great dive rate, good offensive armament, good defensive armament, but of course, crap bombs. And with it being at 2.0, you're going to see some tough competition, but trust me, this thing can handle itself. So the Havoc is obviously a rank 1 battle rating 2.0, and it features four 7.7mm machine guns in the front with 500 rounds a piece, up to 2,000 rounds, and the rear turrets are twin Vickers K machine guns, one on each side, so you get one on the dorsal and one on the ventral, and those they're not the most powerful, I will admit, but once the enemy get within closer ranges, this thing's an absolute monster. And I mean that. This thing is probably one of the best bombers you can get in this game right now. And I'm not even joking because it doesn't take much effort to grind it out. If you get a G wager, it shouldn't take you too long. If you're in a squad or whatever, it shouldn't take you long at all to get 400 Golden Eagles, and then you can buy this plane, or if you prefer bombing a bit more, get the Hudson. But if you want to be a bit more daredevil, the Havoc's your bird. So the Havoc's engines can catch on fire quite often, especially when you're being primarily shot in them, obviously, like by incendiary rounds from, let's say, a Japanese bomber or something. However, the Havoc seems to not want to die. This thing, I had only one death flying the plane, and I must have had about 20 kills. It just shows that this thing can take an absolute pounding. Obviously, the pilot can struggle because obviously he's got really no protection at all. But once you get this thing wound up and everything, if something's on your tail, chances are you're going to outrun it unless it's a HE100, and even then, your defensive gunners are more than capable of dealing with those. So let's get into where the defensive and offensive guns are placed. Obviously, they're mounted a little lower down in the fuselage, so that might take some getting used to. The turret at the top has good coverage, the turret at the bottom has good coverage. It's when we get into recommended belts and everything, obviously universal or traces, it really doesn't matter as long as you don't use default. Same with the British 77 Vickers. I would personally recommend universal. And then we get to the bombs. These things are a bit shit. I'm not gonna lie, these bombs are a bit shit. To put it simply, these bombs lack any real good damage. I mean, they'll do the job if you're attacking light targets, but against a tank, you pretty much have to land it next to the tank in order to score a kill. This can be problematic, obviously, if you're a newer player, and obviously you've just bought this aircraft because of my recommendation. But even so, it's something that you're gonna have to take. Obviously, you are forced to take the bombs, but personally, I would just dump them either on some ground targets or do some damage to a base and then just go play fighter. That is how I play this thing. Now, it's been a while since I've looked at my Havoc, so you can see here 91% win rate. I've only lost 2 games in the thing. 3 deaths, 62 kills, 149 ground targets, plus 1 base, which I had to finish off because a Hampton failed to do so. That gives you an idea of exactly what this aircraft can do. It is an absolute monster in the right hands. And here's one of its main competitors, the Hudson Mk5, which I believe is 700 Golden Eagles. Now, the Hudson trades 2 offensive machine guns, but you get these rockets and you get a bit of better bomb load, you get a better top turret, arguably, but the lower turret remains pretty much the same. The Hudson is better for ground attack than the Havoc, but the Havoc is a better fighter. The Hudson can be argued as a better bomber interceptor due to that top turret, and I've heard some people say that the rockets are actually pretty good. I never really had any good success with the rockets. So that's just me anyway. But this isn't about the Hudson today. This is about the Havoc. Honestly though, folks, if you have 400 Golden Eagles sitting on your account, please give this thing a chance. So, let's get into it. I forgot to delete that one. Sorry about that. I forgot to delete that replay when I did the E7 review. Because you're gonna be seeing quite a few premium reviews coming up over the next few weeks. Because well, I've got some to get through and some I haven't even done yet. Please do let me know actually if you want to see them on the BS 180 because I still haven't done anything on that. I did the first flight, but I haven't done one on the BS 180 yet. So if you want to see that, please do let me know. But honestly, folks, this is one of the best planes that you can get for low tier. Like, I only really fly the Havoc now just to calm down if I'm having a bad day at the office, as Sean Wallace from The Chase would say. But honestly, the Havoc is probably one of the most relaxing aircraft, and this aircraft has actually netted me quite a few free talismans as well. I've gotten the Crusader Mk2, I've gotten the Daimler Armoured Car, and I've also gotten the... what else did I get with it? I think I got the A13 Mark II with this thing. This thing's been netting me quite a few British talismans. I think it was doing the same for Airy as well. He was getting quite a few talismans, which is always nice. So I may have an excuse to drag up both the Havoc and the Hudson again. So, you never know. Might grind some free talismans. So, Havoc Mk1. To put it simply, on this map, you're just going to want to dump your bombs wherever you can. Because, well, there are tanks, however, I don't recommend dropping on those. There is artillery, which I recommend dropping on instead. Now, you may notice I'm changing a lot from the camera views in this part of this replay. That is because I'm trying to keep situational awareness on both the bomber that I spotted, which is at Dose 17, and obviously keep an eye out on the ground targets that I'm bombing at the moment. So, the bombs are away. I am going to get those 2 ground targets. I think I get another one with the bombs. They don't pack much explosive. They're quite weak in terms of bombs. But to be honest, I'm not all that fussed. But obviously I'm closing in on this Dose 17. I do make a bit of a meal of this kill, if I was to be brutally honest. The problem is that at this time I hadn't actually flown the Havoc for quite a bit, and I got 3 ground targets, it turns out. And this was my first game in the Havoc for quite some time, so you can sort of understand why I'm a bit rusty with her. But even though I said about the Vickers K lacking a bit sometimes, it can do some work. Unfortunately, I think that guy's fire actually goes out. Yes, it does. The fire has just gone out. Well, he's dumped his bombs to lessen the load, I suppose. Well, I should, in fact, no, here's one for hello firm. He's dumped his load, and well, I ended up having to do a flyby on this guy. Again, this guy was quite tough to take out the sky. But the pilot soon ate a couple of Vickers K API rounds to the face and soon regretted his life decisions. So that's my first air kill. You can just see the maneuverability of this thing. This thing really does want to fly like a heavy fighter. It's like, I know the Havoc was obviously, well, this is a night fighter variant, but like, Jesus Christ, this thing's maneuverable. I can see why the pilots absolutely love these things. But yes, I'll certainly be able to fly out my Havoc and Hudson a bit more, because I don't remember last time I flew the Hudson. But obviously, you'll see these bad boys again in the Premium Series that is coming around soon. Obviously, the Premium Series is currently at the, well, it will be past the P47 when this video, well, the German P47 when this comes out. And well, we should be into the, what will we be into next? We'll be into Russians, won't we? So, that'll be interesting. So at this point, a BF-109B dives in on my ass. Turned out this guy, I believe he was a smurfer or something like that, or a step padder. I can't remember which. I can't be asked to look. I think he was a Smurf, if I remember rightly. And this HE51 gets the bright idea to tail sit a Havoc. That's not smart at all. Especially when my second gunner starts having a go at him, and, well, there you go. Nice crit to the engine. The funny thing is, if I was wound up enough and put this thing into a sharp enough dive, if I could be asked to do so, I could actually outrun that BF-109 quite easily. This thing's just that quick. It really is that quick. I mean, you can see, even in a slight dive right now, I am actually pulling away from this guy. That's just how fast our Havoc is. It's just such a fast aircraft. I'm up to 370 miles an hour, and I'm just pulling away from this BF-109. But obviously this guy soon realises, yep, I'm not going to catch him. I'm just going to leave him alone. And I throw the Havoc into a sharp left bank. Well, I would want to deal with the HE51. However, the HE51 can only scratch my paintwork, and so can this guy. But I'd rather deal with the BF-109 first. Scored a few hits there. Nothing too special. The gunner has a go at him, but not really going to do much. The gunner ain't. And at this point, the H-51 comes for a cheeky head-on. Obviously, I know about the fires and all that, so I immediately pulled out the way. Both Vickers K machine guns open up on the H-51, and that's him gone for my third kill. Now, I thought at this point that H-75 was coming in to try and kill steal that, but no, the H-51 goes down. Jerry 87R for some reason takes a head-on with the Havoc. You should never do that, and that's the end of him. In fact, no, now I've remembered that guy, that BF-109B1, he was a Smurfer, I remembered him now. But I believe that is my last air kill for this game. But at this point, it's just clean up really. I mean, there's an SM-79, there's a HE-112, V5, there's the step padder, the Smurfer and the BF-109B1, which, why would you Smurf in that thing? And then there's a step padder and a S81 who tries to drag out the game, because, well, there's always going to be one arsehole in there. But yeah, like I say, it's just, I'm just going to jump us ahead, because obviously we've got quite a bit of dead zone coming up, because, well, we're coming up to some ground targets now. Because, well, it's quite clear that these guys at the time, I thought they were going to drag the game out, so I thought, right, let's give them something to think about. Let's go for their ground targets, and, well, that turned out to be a good decision. But the Havoc is just so damn tough, even if these AAA started opening up, it would not give a shit. It honestly would not give a shit. This thing's just so dang tough. It's like whenever you was in secondary school or like growing up as a kid, there was always that one big guy that you would never screw with. Like the big muscly kid, like there wasn't a school bully, but there was always like that one lad who was just huge and you would not mess with him if you could, like you'd want to be on his good side because he would back you up. That's the sort of situation that the Havoc is. It's just one of those kind of things. It's like the big bad guy that you see in school, and you want him on your side because otherwise he's going to fuck you up if you piss him off. There was one lad like that in my secondary school named Michael Adamarco, I think his name was. And he was this humongous, like he was about 6'7", 6'7", and bear in mind I'm like 5'6", so I was quite short ass compared to him. He was this humongous, tall black guy, and he was one of the nicest guys I ever met. But trust me, you did not want to be on his bad side. There was a fight in secondary school that I can remember, and he got into a fight with a lad who was about my height, and he just got fucked up big time. It was actually pretty funny to watch because, well, the thing is that we always just, like, if we knew where the cameras weren't looking in that secondary school, and to put it simply, if you knew where the cameras were not looking, you'd go there and sort your business, because, well, that's just how it was. But, honestly, seeing that was just so funny. And there you can see, even though I've got a slight bit of damage to the plane, I mean, if you just look here, it honestly doesn't care. I've flown it back on one engine, I've flown it back on what felt like 1.5 engines. I've flown it back with oil spraying out the thing, I've flown it with dead gunners, tail controls knackered. elevators and rudders are missing, it honestly doesn't give a fuck. The only thing you really have to watch is 20mm cannons. They tend to be quite dangerous towards this aircraft, and also focus fire on the engine cowlings tend to do a lot of damage to the engines, and that's how my one death, when I was obviously looking to get something out of this plane for a review, because I realised I hadn't actually done one. The engine nacelles are pretty vulnerable to damage. I had a Key 43 Smurfer who came in behind me. I've fucked up his plane. He was not getting back to base. But in the end, he just decided, you know what, I'm just going to aim for your engine nacelles. And I tried dodging him, but it was inevitable. And I had to do a forced landing because of double engine failure. But, yeah, whatever. I'm not fussed. But ever since I got this plane, I've just been so happy with it. It's just such a great aircraft. And unfortunately, this is where we get into the negative, which is really its only negative that I could think of, other than the lack of pilot armor. The bombs. So at this point, I thought I was gonna have to use the bomb sight, and I thought, nah, I'm gonna do it a different way. So I drop one bomb and I drop another. I think I get one tank and just miss the second. If I had the American 500-pounders on board this aircraft, and I know it doesn't show us bombs in the bomb bay, but there's 2 more remaining. Yeah, these bombs are extremely weak. They are not great at all. That's for definite. But at this point, I drop another bomb. The Panzer IV narrowly survived it, but it didn't matter, because, well, let's just say that guy who tried to drag the game out, he didn't win anyway, and our artillery took out the tank. So other than the bombs, this thing really has no problems, other than the pilot armor, but it's a bomber, what do you expect? This aircraft is highly versatile. It can do pretty much whatever you want, and it's some of the best 400G you'll ever spend. So, highly recommend this aircraft. But anyway, I'm going to let you guys off. I hope you enjoyed today's video on the Havoc, and I will see you all on the next one.